Yeah, 100% liberal, for sure, for sure. And then I actually had a good friend in LA. I was staying at her house and we were watching CNN or something before the last election. And she's like, me and my whole family vote for Trump. And I thought, she's a crazy person. And I literally thought I probably can't be friends with this person anymore. That means she's evil. She's a bad human. Like, I was like, are you guys like racist? Knowing her boyfriend is a black man, I thought it was weird. And eventually I realized, oh no, her family just owns a bunch of businesses and employs a lot of people. Oh, okay, that makes sense for them, why they would support him. And then I started to see the unraveling of all the things I've been taught. You go to enough parties in Hollywood, you learn they're all douchebags. Yeah. It's just, it is what it is. 98%, the ones who live in Texas most of the time, they're pretty dope. But I started seeing that every single thing that these people pretend they're actually the polar opposite.
You're kind of one of those people that I feel like you're not really like a pure political beast, but when I open up Twitter or I open up Instagram, I have a very short list of people that I think are like kind of sane these days. And you're on that list. Did you always care about politics? Did you just get kind of thrown into politics?
I've always cared about it. I was in politics when I was 18 years old. My very first official job was I was voted into this like junior prime minister of Canada role in Canada. I was working for the federal government, making way more money than my friends were, working at like MPP and MP's offices, so kind of like our senators. And people wanted me to go into politics. I actually had a scholarship for political science if I went through the Liberal Party of Canada. And I went, no, I'm going to be a comedian. It's about the same.
The same
And
difference,
then, like seriously though. So I really started getting into it again a couple of years ago because everyone started going nuts after Trump. And specifically, I told this story a few times. 2 nights before the last election, I was on a platform speaking at USC. I was on a panel talking about social media, how it's working through the election, stuff like that. And people from Hillary Clinton's campaign came up to me right before I went on, these large men in suits, and they told me that I'm going to say on stage that I'm voting for Hillary. And I was like, well, I'm a Canadian, first of all, so I'm not voting for anyone. I don't get to.
They don't care about that. Come on.
Media.
Come on, they don't care about that.
Yeah, like I'm here to talk about I was the first people monetized on Facebook and like how it all works and that kind of stuff. And they're like, we really strongly suggest you say this.
Wow.
And I recognized the one dude because he worked on Bill Clinton's campaign years ago. And I was just like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna. And once I'm on stage doing the talk with everyone, they put the words in my mouth. So they said on the mic, Nicole is just backstage saying that she can't vote this election, but she would for Hillary.
Wow.
And that was just like my freaking switch in my head. I was like, you motherfuckers. Okay. All right. You're going to put words in my mouth. And then I saw, the media over the last few years. I saw all the late night hosts I've grown up loving and like looking up to just being complete shitheads and spreading lies. I was like, I'm going to start swinging at you guys. You won't see it coming, and I'll take you out in 4 episodes. So that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I just got pissed. So I'm like, okay, I'll start talking politics.
Wow, I totally did not know that about you. So when they did this, when they introed you at USC like that, did you say anything when you got on stage, or were you just too nervous, or you just wanted to get...
Oh, no, I did. I did. And I was like, I definitely didn't say that. But hey, like, I kept it sarcastic. But the same people wanted me to do an interview with David Hogg, who I am not a fan of. I kind of think he's made a career off the, dead students in his class. I've inquired to see how much he charges for appearances, and I think a kid getting $30,000 to talk about his friends, maybe his friends, being shot at school is pretty grotesque. How much of that are you giving to the families? Right, $30,000. How much of that's going to the families? How much of your activism is actually activating anything? And not a fan of the kid. I think he's a dick. So I was still going to do the interview. I do. It's what I think. Sad that happened to you. It's tragic, but kid's a dick. So I was going to do the interview, and one of the other fathers that were part of the shooting, they think they're giant celebrities now, and they stood up all of their interviews that day. They just, oh, sorry, we're busy. We're going to a dinner. So there's these camera crews and these people, and we're like, we came here to do an interview. It took hours to get to this location in LA, and they went to a dinner instead. So do you care about your message, or are you just trying to be famous? And yeah, that started it. And they still reach out to me, that group of people, to be like, hey, Nicole, can you help us for this election? I'm like, no, I think you're dicks. And I see you lying constantly. So you've made an enemy, and I'm going to beat you.
Yeah, but the beauty is, I mean, as you're saying this and you're smiling, is you really do it through comedy. Like, if you want to tell people the truth and not get punched in the face, you got to do it through comedy, right? That's just kind of the way you got to do it. And that you really have mastered that. But I'm curious, were you kind of right before then? Because I want to get to when you kind of came out for Trump, but were you always...
We both had our coming
outs. We had kind of similar events,
Yeah.
But like, what were you before? Did you consider yourself liberal, conservative, blah, blah, blah? So
liberal. This is my liberal sweater, by the way, or at least liberal media. Okay. This is like freaking CNN reporters all over it. Yeah, 100% liberal, for sure. And then I actually had a good friend in LA. I was staying at her house, and we were watching CNN or something before the last election. And she's like, me and my whole family vote for Trump. And I thought, she's a crazy person. And I literally thought, I probably can't be friends with this person anymore. That means she's evil. She's a bad human. Like, I was like, are you guys like racist? Knowing her boyfriend is a black man, I thought it was weird. And eventually I realized, oh no, her family just owns a bunch of businesses and employs a lot of people. Oh, okay, that makes sense for them, why they would support him. And then I started to see the unraveling of all the things I've been taught. You go to enough parties in Hollywood, you learn they're all douchebags. Yeah. It's just, it is what it is. 98%, the ones who live in Texas most of the time, they're pretty dope. But I started seeing that every single thing that these people pretend they're actually the polar opposite. And I went, well, what's the opposite of asshole? I kind of want to go that way. And I caught, even Jimmy Kimmel, I caught him multiple times lying in stories.
Yeah.
Total lie. And I actually was responsible for outing him twice. He probably hates me in the last year because I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't seem right. I'd go to C-SPAN and watch the full uncut footage, and then I'd do a quick video on it and be like, Jimmy Kimmel, did you just lie to your entire audience? Let's see. And he did. And then he issued an apology a couple days later on Twitter. He was lying about Mike Pence in one of them. But the more I saw this, the more I was like, motherfuckers tricked me. You tricked me.
Doesn't it seem crazy to you that you have to like fact check comedians as a comedian? Like, if you would have said that to any like 8-year-old who wants to be a comedian, and your job will be to fact check comedians through comedy, you'd be like, what the F are you talking about?
Right? You can swear with me. It's okay. I saw you tell Ben Shapiro to swear. I've told him to swear multiple times too.
I was being hosty there, but I would like Ben to say fuck more. Yes, hosty. I would.
Yeah, same. Just once, and then we could put it on a loop and turn it to songs.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's ridiculous because I don't want to fact check their jokes. I don't give a shit about their jokes. Be funny, satire, do it. Even though Facebook is censoring jokes now, which is kind of weird. Yeah. But I never thought I'd have to fact check the premise of their joke. Right. Like Nicole Arbour dyed her hair black. No, I didn't. What are you talking about? I wouldn't do that, or that's a sign I'm depressed. Check on me. Yeah, I don't like it. And it got real weird. And then it got so weird that I started researching myself. Like, I was like, okay, these crazy gun Americans. And then I flew down and I hung out with the Black Rifle Coffee guys about 2 years ago this time. And I was like, okay, yeah, they're crazy, but they're the crazy that will rush in if there's an issue and save you. We kind of need those crazies, They're not going to use that gun on me or some random. They're going to defend you if we need it. They're that crazy, which is like a good crazy. Yeah. And then I was scared of guns, so I went to Terran Tactical and I got trained on guns. And it was actually the military who hooked me up with them. And I was like, oh, I see why people love doing this as a hobby. It's dope. Like, I've been like twitching while I was in Canada that I couldn't shoot anything. Right. Targets. And then I started, going through all of the things that, okay, Trump supporters are racists. I saw that they're not. Trump supporters are anti-American. They're this, they're that. They're against gay people. I'm like, well, I kind of feel like I might be a Trump supporter based on what they believe, and I've helped organize World Pride multiple times. I was on a freaking float beside Jonathan Van Ness a year ago in LA for the Pride Parade.
That guy's pretty gay.
He's very gay. He's like, on the gay spectrum, he's like the gayest.
He makes Carson Kressley look like Walter Cronkite. How is that for a reference?
I don't know who those people are. I'm just kidding. That's not true. He does seem like he's about to explode into glitter at any moment, which I love. Yeah. But I saw him even lie. He said in a live stream recently, he's like, all Trump supporters are homophobic and they hate gay people and they're against the LGBTQ community. I was like, bitch, I helped build your float. Yeah. Like, if I suddenly wanted to vote for Trump, it doesn't change that I think you can get married to whoever you want and be happy and I love you. Yeah. And I'm going to dance with you in the parade. It got so obvious and ridiculous and just purely absurd that I was like, one side seems crazy and the other side seems like values.
Yeah. If you're looking for more honest and thoughtful conversations about comedy instead of the nonstop yelling you get everywhere else, check out our comedy playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a variety of topics, check out our full episode playlist. They're both right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.